Hi guys, and welcome to episode 20 of Auntie Danny Knits. I'm Danny and I'm your host, and I've got a lot of knitting. I finished a bunch of stuff. I'm working on a bunch of stuff. Still working on a bunch of stuff from before. But let's get started. I'm ready. So the first thing I've finished is a shawl that I started a while back. It is the Kindness shawl, Kindness KL shawl by Jayla Spiro, and the yarn is Play It Life Fiber Arts Boundless sock in the color Single Man Tier, and it is a gradient, and I love it. It goes from this nice dark, almost navy blue through lighter tealy blues down to this minty sort of color. And I love that lace at the end. I love the little eyelets in the center. It was so nice to knit. It really was it was exactly what I wanted. There was a whole bunch of just basic stockinette, a few yarn overs here and there, and then just simple lace down at the bottom, and even this section, not hard, easy to memorize. I added one extra repeat of that chevron-y section at the bottom because I wanted to use as much of this yarn as I could. I think I had maybe 5 grams left, enough to do a blanket square, and that was about it. I've got one end still to trim off, but I've woven in my ends. But I love this. I love it for a gradient. I think this works beautifully with a gradient. If you've got that one special skein of a gradient that you want to use for a shawl, but you can't find something that's just quite right, this worked so nicely. I was really, really happy with the end result. So this, again, is my Kindness shawl by Jayla Spiro. The second thing I finished was not on the needles nearly as long as this Kindness shawl. Again, that one I started sometime in the fall. This next one I started, I don't even remember the date. I started it on a Monday and I had it finished by the Friday, I think. Maybe even sooner. But I loved knitting this. So this, I'll put it on. This is the Han Cowl by Kino Knits. I love this. It was so much fun to knit. And it got me on this whole cowl kick that I've been on lately. So the yarn is Vocabulary Yarns Pizzicato in the color Hyperbole. But you can see it's got, the cast on and bind off are just beautiful. But it's got some multiple different sections in it. So there's a stockinette and reverse stockinette, and she's got great tips in the pattern for doing the reverse stockinette in the round without having to purl for a bajillion years, which was wonderful. Add some more little lace. It's a sort of, it gradually changes in size so that it lays really nicely. You don't have to do a whole bunch of futzing with it. Here. So here it is. A little bit of a close-up of the color. I really love these super bright pinks with the pale pinks and purpley bits. This is going to be a gift for my sister because she is awesome and I love her. I actually got the pattern as a gift. Mary did a giveaway on her Instagram the day the pattern came out. If you shared the photo, if you were one of the first 25, I think, maybe 10, the first however many to share the photo, she would gift you a free copy of the pattern. And I jumped right on that because I thought it was gorgeous. She had it in this this orangey color, which is not my color, but I looked at it, I'm like, that is a great cowl. And I was in a place where I wanted to knit something around and around and around, and cowls are perfect for that. And so I shared it on my Instagram, so I got the free pattern, but my sister saw the picture that I shared and said, will you make me that pretty, please? And I said, of course. You're my sister, I love you, I'll make you stuff. So I went to my stash and pulled out, I think 3 different yarns that I thought she would like, and laid them out and took a picture and sent it to her, and she picked this yarn right away. Like it is so her colors. But yeah, I love it. And it flew off the needles. It was the only thing I worked on while I was working on it because I just was having so much fun with it. So that is the Han Cowl by Kino Knits, and it was awesome. The next thing I finished were my Obi-Wan socks. So that is the next part of my Star Wars Sock Saga project. So I've already finished Jim's Obi-Wan socks, so these are mine. I haven't blocked them yet. They're on blockers, but I haven't blocked them yet. I use the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and for Jim's socks, he doesn't care about striping, but for me it matters. So I have them matched, and for the heel I actually pulled the yarn from the opposite end of the ball so it matches and it doesn't interrupt the striping sequence, which is important to me. It just makes me happy. So those are my Obi-Wan socks. So hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to get them washed and blocked and take a picture of them next to his larger ones and then give him his socks. I never let him have his half of the set until I've taken a good picture. He loves wearing hand knit socks, which is great. I really appreciate the fact that he wears them. He doesn't just like stick them in a drawer and worry about them being too fancy. But that means that they do get worn. And so, you know, they don't look quite as shiny and new right away. I, on the other hand, have a full drawer of socks, far more knit socks than he does, and regular socks too. So I actually, I'm planning to keep all of my Star Wars Sock Saga socks unworn until I knit through all of the yarn, and then I will be taking a picture of all of my small size Sock Saga socks. That's a tongue twister. But all of my Star Wars Sock Saga socks at the same time. So there's still a long way to go. This is only pair number 3, and I think I've got another 10 or 11 skeins. I went a little bit crazy when she released these. But yep, they're coming. So these are done. I do need to cast on the next ones soon-ish, but as you'll see in a little bit, I've got some other stuff on the needles that has to get done first. The last thing I finished is actually what I'm wearing. This is my Harvest cardigan. It's by Tin Can Knits. It is part of their Simple collection, and the yarn is Malabrigo Rios in the color Teal Feather. I love this color. I think I mentioned it before, but when this yarn showed up at the local yarn shop, I kept going back and looking at it and just trying to figure out what could I possibly make to justify buying so much of this yarn. But I am so pleased with it. I really love it. I made the sleeves a little bit longer than it called for because I like to be able to pull down my sleeves over my hands if I can, and then I don't have to wear my gloves, and my hands still stay nice and warm, because sometimes it's just a pain to wear gloves, especially when I'm sitting around the house. If I can have a sweater that covers my hand and keeps me warm, that's good enough. But yeah, I don't think I really made any other alterations to this pattern. I pretty much followed it as written. I still have, okay, so I knit it, I finished it, I wove in the ends, because I like to weave my ends in right away because otherwise it's not going to happen. And then the very next day I wore it because it was just lovely. And I've worn it several times, so it has not been washed and blocked yet, which is why there are some extra strings hanging out. I like to wait until I've blocked stuff before I trim the ends that I've woven in, just because I don't want them to pop out the wrong side or anything. So, but that is what I've finished this past week. Oh man, more than a week. Since the last episode, this is what I've finished. So let's talk about what I'm working on. There's a lot. Actually, there's not that much. I'm only showing you the things that I'm actively working on, not the things that are sitting in piles all over the craft room, which is also a work in progress, by the way. I've got a bunch of family that's going to be staying for the whole wedding thing, and the craft room is going to be a work in progress because I have to get it to the point where I can have someone sleep in here. Anyway, that's another story entirely. So first thing that I'm working on is called the Claremont Cowl, and it's on a small needle here, but this is it. It is by Sarah Price. The yarn I'm using is Manos del Uruguay Alegria in the color Atlantico, and I started this like the second I bound off on the Hun cowl because I was having so much fun with cowls. I love this yarn. It's super soft. I think I've got my tag here. In fact, I do. So it's the Manos del Uruguay Alegria. It's 75/25 superwash merino and polyamide in the color Atlantico. And it's really nice stuff. I'm really enjoying it. It's a super simple pattern. I believe it's a free pattern. But yeah, I just wanted something, again, that I could do around and around and around and around and around. I think this may end up being a gift for one of my bridesmaids, but we'll see. I have to see if I can finish it on time. I'm not going to commit to giving it to her as a gift until I know that it can be done. But that is the Claremont cowl that I am working on. The next thing I'm working on, do you remember from last episode that yarn that just made me so mad? That was going to be a pair of Lego worms for my sister, and then it had knots in it that was interrupted the striping, and it just drove me crazy, and I tore it all out. Well, it's grown up into something else. It has grown up into a pile of baby hats. So the Into the Wool Fiber Retreat opened for registration, and I got in, and so that means that it's time to start working on my NICU noggins. So I've got several from that awful yarn that made me so mad, and now I'm not mad at it anymore because these are so stinking cute. So there's still ends hanging out. My plan is to use up all the yarn from the leg warmers, then toss them in to wash together, and then trim up the ends. But the ends are all woven in, they're just long ends dangling out. So I feel much better about that yarn now that it's becoming something adorable that someone is going to love. What else? I picked up my scrap sock blanket because why not? It's not like I've got anything else that I have to do, which is coming up. But I had this urge to work on it. I said, you know what, I'm going to. So I've put on all of these ones with little dangles, stitch markers, that's the word I want. All of those, there are 18 that I've added since the last time I showed it to you. So I'm pretty pleased with this. It's yay long. So it's probably maybe a third of the final width that I want, and definitely nowhere near the length that I'm gonna want. But I've weighed things, and I'm averaging about 2 grams per square, so I don't need a whole lot of leftover to be able to put a square in, which is nice. This is one that I am not using any minis that I get in exchanges. This blanket is all yarns that I've used to make socks or shawls or toys or sweaters or something myself. So these are all really memories of things that I've worked with, not other people's memories. So I've made some reasonable progress on this. This is I'm considering it a forever project, really. It's something that's going to take a very long time, and I'm okay with that because, like I said, I'm only using yarns that I've used. So I'm probably going to hit a point eventually, not right away, but eventually, where I'm caught up on all of the scraps that are hanging around here. I've got another basket over there that's got a whole bunch of scraps that can be used. I've got a little bag up down by my rocking chair that has sort of the next up yarns. But eventually I'm going to use up all the scraps that are currently just hanging out, and I'll be caught up, and so when I finish a pair of socks, I'll go straight onto this and knit a square right into it, and that'll be lovely. Anyway, what's next? So after I finished my Obi-Wan socks, I was going to start on the next set of Star Wars socks, and I realized, no, I have a better plan. So I may have mentioned that I'm getting married, maybe, in like a month and a half. It's happening soon. So as many brides are wont to do, I spent way too much time on Pinterest, because that's what I do. And I saw this father of the bride gift, and it was just a pair of socks that the bride gave her father with a little tag on it that said, "Dad of all of our walks together, this one's my favorite." And I saw that, and the first thing I thought was, I need to make my dad another pair of hand knit socks, because he really liked the first pair that I made him, but I haven't done any others since then. So I pulled out my Malabrigo sock in the color Impressionist Sky, which is the sort of shade of blue that I'm aiming for the wedding stuff. That's the shade of blue that I'm making my own knit flowers out of. I'm going to be, I hope, making a little pillow for the ring bearer to carry, and it's going to be out of the same color. But I cast on and started knitting a pair of socks for my dad. So they're just simple ribbed socks. They're going to have a fish lips kiss heel because that worked really well for him last time. I've still got all the notes about how many stitches I cast on, how many rows I did. That's what all these markers are for, just to keep me on track so I know how many rows I've done. So I'm going to just follow the math, same as last time, same needle size, all that. And they should turn out just perfect like they did last time, I hope. But my plan is to get these done and sort of keep them aside, and then as we're doing all of our getting ready on the morning of, I'm going to give him his socks with that little tag on them. Might make him cry. Definitely going to make my mom cry. I'll probably cry. But, sorry, that was just my show notes falling. But that's another wedding related thing, and that's living in my official sock knitter bag that my Star Wars socks usually live in. So, you've been waiting for it. See the dress? Big silent reveal. I am almost done with ball. This must be skein 8. Yeah, because there are 10 in the bag. So this is number 8 that I'm finishing up. Wow. So the skirt is all done, and you've seen all that before. But I am through the waist shaping. It went in, and now it's gone back out. And of course you can't tell on this skinny little needle. But I'm at the point where I need to start working front and back separately and start armhole shaping. So that is super exciting. Let me stand up. And so it's pretty much right about here on me. So the waist is, it makes more sense when I try it on. But you've got sort of a drop waist, and it's just plain stockinette. And yeah, I'm about to split and do the front and back separate. Have the armholes. I'm still working on a plan for the sleeves. What I think I'm gonna do is throw out what the pattern said, because I don't like those sleeves for me. They're fine, but they're just not for me. And what I think I'm gonna do is do some math and calculate it out, and basically do the bottom of the dress, do a full leaf and another leaf, and then sort of do what happened up the top here. Do a full leaf, a second leaf, and then a row with decreasing leaves, and then have stockinette up the shoulder. So that's the plan for that. It's just going to take some sitting down and mathing. But I've got like 5 weeks. That's Hershey crying in the corner. But I've got 5 weeks. I can do it, right? I can totally do it. Okay, so let's talk about the stuff that I got from SAF. Finally getting to SAF stuff. Today I'm going to talk to you about the fiber that I got. So the first one is from Rock and String Creations. It is a 75-25 Firestar Merino blend, and I got 2 4-ounce bags of this puppy because it's got just the perfect colors for my nieces. It's got the bright blue and the bright purple and the fluorescent pink, and I like the black in there. And it's got the Firestar for sparkle, so I think it's just going to be great to spin up something and then use it to make something for the girls. Reach down here. The next thing I got was from Euphoric Fibers. They were a pretty cool little booth. I went back several times to look at their stuff and try to make my decision. So what I ended up getting was 4 ounces of faux cashmere in this lovely shade of blue, and I don't see a name on it anywhere, but this is Euphoric Fibers. And yeah, it's so soft. That's why I ended up going with this one. It's just, I just want to rub it. It's really, really soft, and I'm hoping that I can get it to spin up just as nicely. I do tend to spin a little bit tight, and I don't know, I'm hoping that it won't be so tight that I lose the softness of that. And then the last fiber that I got was from Little Barn Ink, and it is just naked 80s, it's a comb top superwash merino, ultra fine, and I got 2 big ol' 8-ounce bags of it. Reason being that I want to try dyeing some fiber, and it was a really good price. You can see it was only $12.95 for an 8-ounce bag, which is not bad. That's like double the amount that I would get if I got it dyed. And it was, I got it on the Sunday? Yeah, I got it on the Sunday. And this guy was doing an extra discount if you paid cash on Sunday, so I paid cash. Because if I got something that wasn't super expensive, then I won't feel bad if I accidentally destroy it while I try dyeing it. I'm hoping I won't destroy it, but in case something goes wrong, I've got 16 ounces of it, which is more than enough for messing around with, and it's enough that I can screw up some and still be okay with it. And honestly, I think I spent less than $20 on the 16 ounces. So if I screw it all up, it's not ideal, but it was only $20, and I can felt it. I can maybe try to, I don't know, I'll figure out something. But that was the fiber that I got at SAF. Also in things that I got was this lovely yarn. It is Unwind Yarn Company, and you can see her new logo, which was just recently unveiled. This one is her Journey Sock, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, 400 yards, 100 grams, and this color is Stormfront, and I love it. It's like grays with some pops of like a denim-y blue. It's just, oh, it's really pretty. And this I won as a prize in a knit-along, but I don't remember what knit-along. I feel so bad. But it was one that Dana was hosting with someone else, and it wasn't on the Unwind Yarn Company page, and it wasn't part of the Just One More Road podcast. It was something else, and I can't remember what. But I won, and it was super exciting, and I actually got to choose any of her yarn. And so this is the color that I chose. I actually went back and looked through all of her colorways because I've got quite a bit of her stuff. Actually, I don't have, well, no, I've got about 4 skeins over there. I don't have a whole lot of her stuff left. I've knit with a lot of it, and I really like her Journey Sock. And yeah, I was super excited to get this, and it came in the mail a couple weeks ago, and so now I've got it, and I'm super excited, and I really just want to figure out what I want to make with it and cast it on right away. But as you can see, I've got some other stuff going on. So that is my shopping for the week. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up with just a little chit chat. This is Hershey, who was sitting there crying a little while ago and just wanted to be sitting here and being loved. So she's getting little scratches while I'm chatting because she just won't shut up otherwise. But isn't she fluffy? She is just so fluffy. Yes, and loves giving kisses. So things to talk about. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen a couple of weeks ago, Jim's friend's wife's grandmother passed, and she had some yarn, and they asked if I would like it. And I was shocked to find out that sometimes non-knitters have the same definition of some yarn as I do. I ended up with 3 big garbage bags and like a laundry basket full of yarn and stuff. There was a full set of crochet hooks and some plastic canvas stuff, a couple of random knitting needles, and so much yarn. So much yarn. So I pulled it all out of the bags, went through it that night. I ended up throwing out some things. Anything that I couldn't identify what it was, that was a ball too small to actually use, I went ahead and just threw that out. Most of it was acrylic, but I did end up filling that whole laundry basket with crochet cotton and dishcloth cotton, so there was a lot of cotton. Sorry about the dogs. They're just having a little bit too much fun tonight. But I'm home alone with them, so I'm leaving the door open when I'm recording so that if something goes wrong, I can hear it. But their definition of something going wrong and my definition of something going wrong are two entirely different things. That's Molly that you hear. But yeah, anyway, I ended up with this pile of yarn. I still don't know where to put it. It's sitting in my living room right now. I'm just like, that is so much yarn. So I think what I need to do is get, I need to go get some big Rubbermaid bins for all of my acrylic. The donated acrylic, the I bought it acrylic, all of that. It needs to just go in some Rubbermaid bins and get tucked sort of off to the side in the room here so that it's out of the way, so that I don't have to worry about it quite as much. What else? I really feel like wedding stuff is taking up my life right now, which makes sense because it's happening soon. We've got an officiant. We went shopping last weekend and picked out Jim's clothes, and we got stuff for the groomsmen. The bridesmaids are already taken care of. The flower girls are taken care of. We got stuff for the ring bearer. Jim's mom came shopping with us, and that was great. She had a lot of good insights and opinions and helped us out with that, which was nice. I also bought some Corelle because I dropped a plate the other day and I forgot. Well, no, I didn't really forget. I put it out of my mind. I've only ever broken one Corelle plate before because those things are like indestructible. That's half the appeal of them. But when you drop them just right, instead of bouncing and making you say, wow, Corelle's awesome, they shatter into 1,000 little dust-like pieces, and you go, wow. It's a little bit of a different wow than when it just bounces, but so yeah, I got a couple of extra plates and bowls. I only broke one plate, but I'd had 8 big plates, 8 medium plates, and 6 small plates. I don't know why I only had 6. I think I was buying them one at a time for some reason, but they were on sale, so I bought 1 to replace the one I broke, and then 2 more so that I had 8 of that. And they had my bowls on clearance, which means I'm not going to be able to get them again. Actually, I probably will, because they're just the plain white ones, but they were on clearance for super cheap, and I only had 4 bowls. I don't know why I had 8, 8, 6, and 4. That bothered me, so I got enough plates to have 8, and I got 4 more bowls, so I've got 4 bowls. I don't know why I told that story. It was just part of the shopping on the day that we bought the wedding clothes. We're working through stuff. I have got the invitations almost finished, so they will be going out sometime this week. Yeah. It's getting real in here, man. Not really. I mean, it was real already, but the other thing I did was I got our engagement photos printed, which was fun. I got them just from Shutterfly. I like using Shutterfly. It's relatively inexpensive. And for our photo album, rather than doing like a big wedding album thing that our photographer puts together, we got a 12 by 12 album and Project Life pages and the Project Life wedding sentiments kit. And so I actually put together the pages of our engagement photos. So those are in there. And I've put together a couple of pages for people who are knitting on my dress. Well, okay, it's more than a couple of pages. It's a lot of pages because you guys are awesome. I love my knitting friends. You guys are really seriously amazing. So yeah, I've got everyone in there, and I'm planning to write your names and probably your RAV names underneath too, because half the time I remember people more by their RAV names than by their real names. Sorry guys. But yeah, So things are happening. Good progress is being made. And yeah, I'm going to let you go so that I can go back, and I'm going to try on the dress one more time to make sure it's coming to the right place before I split for the front and back. And then I'm going to start knitting on my dress again tonight. So I hope you guys have a wonderful time until the next time we chat. It was about 3 weeks in between this time. I'm hoping to do it a little bit sooner next time, but life just gets away sometimes. And also, I am so sorry that the last one came out so far after I actually recorded it. I think I only put it up like last weekend. It was just sitting on my phone. I'd processed and it was there. I just forgot to upload it to YouTube. Oops. And then I uploaded to YouTube one night and got pulled away to do something else and totally forgot to finish and put it up on iTunes too. So sorry. I'll try to be better about that. But if not, you'll just have delayed release podcasts that are still spaced out nicely, right? Anyway, you guys take care. Talk to you next time.